guys, it's been a while. Hope you're all doing great. Yes, I'm back with yet another video in this Microsoft Dynamics 365 Beginners Tutorial series. So today's topic is going to be the batch numbers in finance and operations application. We're going to explore various features that are hidden within the batch numbers. So let's get into the video. And yes, before getting into the video, if you haven't subscribed to this channel and you're watching this channel, please do subscribe. That will really help me and also help you in getting further updates on my future videos. So with that note, let's get started. Hi guys, welcome back. This is a continuation of our previous video where we discussed about the serial numbers in Microsoft Dynamics 365. And in this video, we are going to discuss about the batch number and various attributes related with the batch number. Again, the batch numbers are quite similar to that of a serial number, where in the serial number, every single item have their own unique identification number. Whereas in the case of a batch number, or it's also called as a lot number, where the whole lot of items are all tagged or grouped together and they are given a unique identifier called as a batch number. The batch number is very handy for your forward and backward tracing of the market as well. That is, once you completed the sales of the product and if there are any compliant post sales, you can easily track down to your specific vendor and you can recall the entire batch if needed. And also even within the inventory management areas, like when you're purchasing a batch, normally the whole lot of items which are tagged as one batch are most likely to be manufactured on the same date. They're most likely to have a similar expiry date, so they are all classified under one single common identifier called as a batch number. So it's easier for us to even track the expiry date within the inventory as well. In some cases, we also have an algorithm of first expiry date first out method, where in a case of a sales order, you can reserve the one which is expiring faster, comparing the sales date, and the system automatically picks such a batch and go ahead and sell the item. We do have such logics available in the sales order. We'll definitely cover all of that during our sales and marketing discussion. So this particular batch number is very, very useful even in the inventory management areas. So we'll cover some of them related with the manufacturing date and expiry date and all of that in these episodes as well. So with that high level introduction to the batch number, let's get into the batch number. So the agenda for this is I'll first get into the manual batch number process and then automatic, and then we will get into other attributes related with the batch number one by one, like disposition codes and all of that. So now let's first take an item. I think the X001 is the item that I will be using for this today's demo, and this item is a batch number tracked item. As you can see that the tracking dimension is batch number enabled, just like we used a tracking dimension with the serial number enabled in the previous example, and here we are using a batch number enabled tracking dimension, and that item is ready to be used. So let me quickly validate the item, and yeah, it's good enough. And this item doesn't have any batch at this particular moment. It's a new item. I've never used this item for any transaction. So one difference between the batch number and the serial number is, in a case of a serial number, we did see that in a case of a manual serial number process, we can key in the serial number on the go during the registration process in the registration screen, during the purchase receipt, or even in the item arrival journal. You can key in the serial number directly, matching with the serial number of the vendor easily, and register item and receive it. But in a case of a batch number, it's quite different. You need to specify the batch number upfront for a specific item before receiving it against the batch master. So only if you specify the batch number upfront, you will be able to go ahead and register an item and book the item against that particular batch number while receiving it. Of course, this is for a manual batch number process, but the automatic batch number will automatically generate batch numbers. So if you are following a manual process, do remember that you need to get into the batch master, create the batch number upfront for that item, and then later receive the item. That's what we are going to exactly do now. So for creating the batch number for this particular item, there are two different ways. One is directly get into the item, click on the batches, add a new button, and key in the batch number. Or the another way is the usual path, which is you need to go into the inventory management module, tracking dimension, batches. you will see the batch master, and here you can go and create a batch for the item. But difference is, if you go and create from the batch master, that is from the inventory management module, you need to key in the batch number, and also you need to manually go and search for that particular item and tag the item against the batch number. Whereas if you're going from the release product itself, then you can skip a step. That is, you don't need to tag the item because the item number is already there because you're going from that particular item. So all you need to do is just click on new and just key in the batch number. That's more than enough. So in this case, I'm going to just key in my first batch number for this item. It's going to be BA001. Save it, and the batch number is created. As simple as that. So now this particular batch number is not having any inventory because it's just a batch registration I have done. So if you check, there are no transactions against this particular batch number. So let's go and receive this item using a PO and try to use this batch number and register the item. So let me just go to the purchase module and quickly book a purchase order. That vendor and our usual warehouse. So that's the item, and this item I'm going to purchase 10 of them and save it. And I cannot receive this item directly because this item is batch number tracked. So I need to first register the item before I receive them. So let me just confirm the purchase order, and let's register the item from the line update. Click on registration. Again, you can even use the arrival journal to receive the item if needed. So during the registration, just add registration line, and here is where you will be picking your batch number, and obviously this item has only one batch number. So click on the drop down and choose that particular batch number. So now we have linked the batch number that we have created with this particular item and confirm the registration, and you're good to go. Just go ahead and just receive this. Put a GRN number and receive the batch. So now if I go to the inventory transaction, you will see that particular transaction and that particular batch number that is available. And if I go back to the item master, just refresh it, and against that particular batch, you will also see a transactions now available even from the batch number point of view. And of course you can even see the item tracing. Now the batch number will be associated with the relevant purchase order number. So that is a very quick way of registering a batch number while receiving a purchase order. So now let's go through the automatic process. Again, it's quite similar to what we have noticed in the serial number. So let's go and see how do we do that. So let me go to another tab. Let's go to the inventory management, and under the inventory management you already know about the tracking group that we have already seen during the serial number process. So tracking number group, we have created them for the serial numbers. So now let's create a new one for the batch number. I'm just going to put as BN. I don't want the date, lot. I only want the serial number enabled for now. And again, I prefer changing the serial number. Just create a new serial number, BN batch number, company, ADC motor. I don't want the company name. I just want batch number prefix, and let me make it as 6-digit and continuous, and let's only keep 6 nines here. The largest another 9, 6-digit number. So that's it. Copy this, save it. Go back and tag it here. It's done. Okay, so we have created a batch number group. Okay, so let me just copy that and tag it within the item. So get into the product information management, release products. That's the last one, that one. And edit it, and it's just similar to that of serial number group. It's a batch number group this time, and that one. Okay, so now this particular item will automatically generate the batch numbers. So copy the item, and now let's try to create a quick purchase order again. That's one. Okay, put it there, and 10 quantity, done. And now I can directly receive it. I don't need to register it because the batch number is automatic this time. In fact, I don't even need to receive it because if I go to the transaction now, I will already see the batch number generated, and this batch number is following the number sequence that we expect, right? Because inside the batch number group, I have not enabled the physical update. So meaning it will create a batch number even before I receive the item. So yeah, I have a batch number here. So even if I go into that particular item batches, you will see that the batch number is here. Yeah, so you can also view that there is a transaction. It's in the ordered status for that particular batch. So that is the automatic serial number, which is again similar to that of automatic batch number, sorry, which is again almost similar to that of an automatic serial number generation. So so another thing that I want to convey is against the batch numbers, you would have noticed another two columns, which is the batch disposition code, which says available, and batch disposition status, which also says available. We already discussed about this particular batch disposition code in a lot more elaborate manner during the some of our previous videos during the quality management discussion. So you can just watch that video to understand more about the batch disposition code. But however, those who are new to my channel or those who are directly watching this video and haven't watched my quality management videos, for the sake of them, let me just quickly try to refresh the concepts again. Just very quickly, I'll do that. So so the batch disposition code, if I just double click it, and you'll see that this particular batch disposition code is of a status available. Okay, there are multiple batch disposition code which we have created during our discussion. One is a QC fail, and that particular batch disposition code is in the status unavailable. So meaning when we are creating a batch disposition code and we are naming it, we have an ability to tag a disposition status, which is inbuilt status, either to unavailable or available. If I keep it as available, then everything is unblocked. If I keep it as unavailable, then everything is blocked. Of course, you can customize it by unblocking certain areas if you want, but in general, the unavailable will block everything, and it will also be not considered as a part of master planning. Again, all of this we have already discussed in the video related with the quality management. You can just watch them to understand this better. But the summary is, if you are tagging a batch to disposition code which is of disposition status unavailable, then that particular batch will be blocked from sales, blocked from production, blocked from transfers. So blocked from sales meaning even the reservations will be blocked. For example, during your sales order process, if you are having an automatic reservation enabled, then the batch that is blocked will not be reserved, and the batch will be automatically skipped by the system, and the subsequent batch which is available will be automatically reserved. If you're having a manual reservation, and if you're trying to reserve a batch which is unavailable, then the system will throw an error and it'll say that it's not possible to reserve such a batch, right? So completely the sales process will be blocked. Likewise, the transfer process will also be blocked if you're using a disposition code unavailable against a batch. Okay, so we already have enough disposition code that we have created earlier. So in this case, the available is our disposition code by default attached to the batch, right? So if I go back, I'll see that the available is a disposition code by default attached. So everything is allowed now. So how does the system automatically assigns available for a newly created batch? That is actually defaulted from the item model group, meaning inside the item model group that is assigned to that particular item, uh, I have tagged the batch disposition code as available. Okay, so this is a reason why the system automatically defaults available as a batch disposition code. Okay, so if I now go back, and for that item, if I get into the item, and I'll see that the item model group is general, so which means that that is the disposition code. So that's the reason why whenever I create a new batch, uh, the disposition code is available. Okay, so to just try to recollect the concepts of disposition code, I will also try to do a very quick scenario. So what I'll do is I will just continue the purchase process that I left in the middle, meaning the continue with my purchase order that I have just created. So go back. That's a purchase order. We haven't received it yet, right? So let me finish the process. So I think it's already confirmed. So let me go and receipt it and put the GRN number. So the inventory is now available for that particular batch. Okay, so the inventory is available for that batch. If you just see the transactions, it is received and the inventory of 10 is available in the CS warehouse. So now let us try to create a quality order. I do not have a quality association set up for this item. So let's try to create a manual quality order. All this we have already discussed, guys, in the previous part. Do refer to those videos if you are new. However, I will just very quickly create a quality order. That's the quality orders. So just click on new, and we already have all the setups for the quality order. So I'm just need to add the item number. Test group is that one. 10 quantity, and that's the warehouse. And since this item is a tracking dimension batch enabled, so the batch number is enabled. So go and pick the batch number that we have, which is that one. And one more thing is within the test group that we are configuring against, we are tagging against this quality order. If I get into the test group has 100% sampling, and test group has one quality check inspection checklist, and under the general tab of the test group, we have a field called as failed quality order batch disposition code, passed quality order batch disposition code. So if the quality order passes, my batch disposition code will be available. If my quality order fails, then my batch disposition codes will be changed for that batch to QC fail. So QC fail batch disposition code is basically an unavailable batch disposition code status. So that will in turn block that particular batch from selling or from transferring, right? So because this particular batch disposition code, let me just check, is blocking everything, right? So if I just go back and complete this quality order, so the quality order is created, and let me get into the results and try to update the whole quantity, and just fail the quantity, validate it, and to go back and then just validate it again and fail the quality order. So the quality order is now failed. So meaning if I now go back to that particular item, the release product item, just get into the item, I'll see the batches. I'll see that that particular batch which we just failed was previously available, but now the status is changed to QC fail and the batch disposition status is unavailable. Okay, so I cannot use this batch for sales or for the transfer process. Just to show you an example, um, let's just go here and try to quickly put a transfer order, guys. Let's say a simple transfer order from the CS warehouse to maybe that warehouse. I'm not sure whether I have a transit warehouse set up for CS. Oh, there is. So yeah, then I can just add the item number, all the 10 quantity I want to transfer. Let me add a dimension, batch, save it. Batch number is going to be that one. So as soon as I choose the batch number, system gives me an alert saying that the batch number is not available, the disposition code. So even if I try to save it and it's not available, even if I try to ship the transfer order, just say okay, it will again give me an error and that says that the batch number is blocked. It is totally blocked. You cannot proceed any further. So that's all because of the disposition code that we have. Okay, so that's the use of the disposition code, guys. And another this is one way of changing the disposition code in a batch through a quality order, right? Because in a test group in a quality order, I can default the status. The other way is you can even get into the let me try to find out the area in the inventory management module. So the batches, there is update batch disposition code available, so you can even change the status from here as well. So let me just try to find the item, that one, batch number, that one. So I can even run the batch to make the changes to the batch number. That's another way that you can do the batch number changes. Okay, it's successfully done. If I just change it, again changed back to available. So apart from the disposition codes, there are additional topic that I want to discuss on the batch number. So let me create a new batch number. Let's keep it as BN-00003. So while creating a batch number, you can also tag a manufacturing date. So, but the thing is, as soon as you key in the manufacturing date and save it, it will get grayed out. You cannot now override the manufacturing date anymore. There are ways to do that. We will come to that later, but from this screen, you can not do or make changes to the manufacturing date once you hit on the save button. Likewise, you can also tag an expiry date for your batch. Let's say it's expiring by the end of this year, and there is a batch created with a expiry date. So later on, I can assign this particular batch number to an incoming shipment, which actually is manufactured on that particular date and which gets expired on that particular date. So I can put a PO and use this particular batch number against a specific stock. Okay, so that is the manufacturing date and expiry date that can be tagged. But there are also some more fields, like you see they are disabled here, right? The shelf advice date, best before date, what are they, right? That's our next question that we have. So let's get into the item master, which is the X001. So in the item master, get into the manage inventory tab. So under the manage inventory tab, there is a section called as item data, right? So in this particular item data, there are few fields like shelf life in days, shelf advice period in days, best before period in days, right? So this shelf life period is referring to a period or a specific number of days in which my product can remain on the shelf. It could be a food and beverage or a consumer good or a cosmetic product which is sitting in a supermarket in a shelf, and you are defining the shelf life for that particular product here. So for example, the X001 is a specific product which can sit in the shelf for about, let's say, 6 months, right? So meaning I'm giving specifying here the days and certifying this product can actually withstand for 6 months with no problems in the shelf. Okay, so 6 months meaning 180 days, I think. So I'll just put 180 here. So that is going to be my shelf life for this particular product. And there is something called as a shelf advice period, which is a period after which you might need to do one quick quality inspection to make sure the color of the product, the taste of the product, or the smell of the product is all good. Maybe you can take a sample from the batch and do the testing, and if it is passing, then you can prolong, continue keeping it in the shelf until the expiry date or until the prescribed shelf life period. So this particular shelf advice date might be, in my example, like after 3 months, maybe I will do a quick quality check. And if the quality check passes, then I will prolong for 3 more months, meaning totally 6 months until the product gets expired. So here I'm going to give 90 days. So that's going to be the day when I will be doing a quality check, right? So the quality check date will be decided based on 90 days, right? So this 180 days of shelf life is from the manufacturing date. So everything, the starting point of everything is a manufacturing date. So when you know the manufacturing date, which is maybe today, then my shelf life is 6 months from today, right? 180 days. And if I know my manufacturing date, which is today, then after 3 months from today, I might need to do a quality check. So system automatically also generates quality inspections. So we will see all that later. So that is the 90 days. So for a product, you would have noticed there is an expiry date and there is also a best before, date. So the best before date always falls a little before the expiry date, right? So here I will give a period, a date before the expiry date, which can be considered as a best before date, right? Let's say the product is expiring by the end of the month, then it is best to consume it like maybe 30 days before the end of the month. So in such cases, I can give the period as 30 here. Okay, so this refers to how long before the expiry date I can consider as a best before date. So likewise, the expiry date is calculated based on the shelf life. The manufacturing date, shelf life is 180. So from the manufacturing date, after 6 months is going to be your expiry date. Likewise, after 3 months is going to be your inspection date, and 30 days before your expiry date is going to be your best before date. Okay, so that is something which I've defined here in the item master. Just save it. So now let's go ahead and create the batch again. So let me create a new batch. Let's say BN 00004 and pick a manufacturing date of today. Save it. So as soon as I save it, unlike last time, after you key in your shelf life period and everything, the system automatically populates all of this data, right? So how does they populate? Let me open the item master in another tab so we can compare and see how it works. Okay, let's go back. So yeah, so the manufacturing date I have keyed in, which is today's date. And the expiry date is calculated based on the shelf date of 180, which is 6 months from today. So that is going to be the I think April, right? So the next year, so fourth month of next year is going to be 6 months from today, right? So that is tagged here as an expiry date. That's because of this field here. And the shelf advice date, that is the day when I should supposed to be doing a quick inspection on the product, that is 3 months from today, so which is October, and it's going to be the January of next year. And the best before the date is 1 month from that of the expiry date, which is because we have put the 30 days here, which I've already mentioned, right? So that is also appearing here. So that's the formula that's been used. But if you're confused, I will also put the formula on the screen now, either at the top or somewhere on the bottom. You can pause the video and just have a look into the formula. So these are all dates that are populating based on the relevant field here. So the trigger point for majority of this date is the manufacturing date, because the manufacturing date is the one which triggers the expiry date, and the expiry date is the one which triggers the best before date, because it's 30 days behind the expiry date. And the shelf advice date is triggered from the manufacturing date and the shelf life together. So in general, you have to key in your manufacturing date for us to for the system to populate all other dates. Okay, so once they're all populated, can we override the manufacturing date? Can I change the manufacturing date from this screen? No, you cannot, because it's grayed out, it's done. So you have to be careful before keying in the manufacturing date. But there are other ways we can override the manufacturing date. Let's see that now. That is during the registration process. Okay, so but for you to be able to override the batch number during the registration process, you might need to enable certain setup. So let's just enable the parameters, and then let's see how do we override it. Okay, so I'm going to use the same batch number in a purchase order and receive an item and try to override this particular manufacturing date. But for doing that, let's just quickly do a setup. So within this particular item, there is this particular item model group. So get into the item model group. So in the item model group level, edit it, and you do have something called as a purchase registration. Okay, just click on that and enable the purchase registration and save it. Okay, this is the only setup that you need to do. After you do this setup, now let's use this batch and receive a PO. Okay, so let's try to get into a purchase order. Okay, new. That one. That one. And okay. So once the purchase order is created, let me use my item. Oh, before I actually use this item, I also have to, since I want to use my batch number, which is this one, and the item is automatic batch number enabled. So in order to avoid creation of a new batch number, let me try to remove the batch number group. Okay, I'm going to remove this. So now let's go to the PO, add the item line again. Oh no, not this. X001. Okay. Just to double check, the batch number is not generated, meaning the automatic batch number is gone. So I need to register it. So during the registration process, add lines, and I'm going to pick that particular batch number, which is this. So just remember that the manufacturing date is 1510. So I'm going to choose that, and now comes the area which is driven by the item model group. So when I try to confirm the registration, system automatically publishes a new form called as vendor batch details. Okay, this form is because this form appears only if you turn on this parameter. Okay, this parameter, if you keep the cursor on this parameter, it also says that if the fields enable the vendor batch details to be updated during the purchase registration process, right? So this field is the main parameter. So the vendor batch details screen appears. So in this screen, you can have something called as a vendor batch date. Okay, so I'm going to make the vendor batch date not as a today's date, but I cannot make it as a future date, but I can make it as either today's date or a past date. So I will like make 2 days before, like 13/10. Okay, and I use this flag and say that use this as a new manufacturing date. So this will override the existing manufacturing date and change the manufacturing date. Okay, so I can even put a note here or anything if needed, and that's it. So just save this and close this, and you also see the new manufacturing date now and the shelf time and the expiry date and everything, right? So just close it, and your registration is done. I can even go and now just confirm it. But even at this point, if I go to this particular batch number and refresh it, you see that it is now changed from 15 to 13, and even this is updated and this flag is enabled. I mean, similarly in the same screen, I could even update the expiry date, and this tag will also enable in such cases. It's also possible, but I haven't done it. I've just changed my uh, the vendor batch date, which changed my manufacturing date. So this is one way of overriding the manufacturing date from the vendor registration form. Okay, so these are some of the details about the batch number that I wanted to discuss in today's video, but this is going to continue. We are going to discuss about few more features that are available within the batch number in the next episode. Thank you so much for watching this episode.